Hey guys, this is Nathan Kranso, and I'm here to introduce you to the spirit coffin. It's something I've been playing around with for years. Spirit effects are one of my favorite things, especially when it comes to making people feel that spooky energy. So I know you've got one in front of you right now, so let's get into it. All right guys, let's open up the box and check out what you get. So inside the box, you'll find the spirit coffin. And if you just open up the latch on the side, you can open up the box, and in the bottom of the box more than likely will be the flap. So what you have to do is take the box, just give it a little tap against your hand, and the flap will fall out. And that's pretty much the secret to the trick. It's same mechanics as the classic spirit slates. Now the flap usually starts in the lid, and when you close the box, it's going to drop to the bottom here. In this particular case, I have it oriented the wrong way. As you can see, the flap isn't actually flush against the bottom, it's almost floating up in the air. So you have to make sure that you always have the flap going this way. So that way when it falls in, it will lock in place and you can show the box very cleanly. You can shake it up and down and you don't have to worry about the flap falling out. So once again, to get the flap out, just knock it against your hand, and we'll usually place it in the lid of the box. And for most of the presentations, you're going to display the box like this, and then place a piece of chalk inside. I'll display the box, close it shut, and then as an afterthought, I just drop the piece of chalk inside, and that causes the revelation of whatever you'd like. Picked a card, that's one thing, but I'm going to try something even weirder. I actually have this little coffin because when I was growing up, we always had this like one house in the neighborhood that everybody said it was haunted. So after it got tore down, I had my buddy get some of the wood, and he made this out of the old house. So I'm going to ask a question from the other side and see if they can tell us the information. So I'm going to give this, let's see here. Will you be the holder of the chalk?
Absolutely.
What is your name?
Hudson.
Hudson. I'm going to try this with Hudson. I'm going to take the, I guess for lack of a better term, the spirit coffin, and we'll close it. And then, actually, you've got the chalk. We'll just take the chalk and we'll dump it right inside there. And I'll latch the lid. And I'm not going to use my fingers to make it do anything weird. I'll just hold it flat on my hand. Oh, I can already feel something. I don't know if you can hear this.
That's interesting.
I'll actually, I won't even touch it. Can you just unlatch it and open the lid? And we'll see if the...
a frog or something.
I promise nothing's going to jump out at you.
Oh, that's good. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that was
That's funny.
And I've been waiting for you for 3 years. Thanks for finally showing up, bro. So this is the basic name revelation. It's probably one of the strongest things you can do with the spirit coffin. Basically what the spirit coffin allows you to do is make almost any word or image appear to apparently been written by the spirits or by something from the other side. And you can make it be any word, but I think the strongest word you can use is someone's name. So really all you have to do is, before the performance, take the flap and put it in the lid. But before you do that, you want to put someone's name. So in this case, I just wrote Bob. And how do you get their name? Well, maybe you already know who it is. Maybe you've met the person before and you already know their name. That's the easiest way to do it. If someone calls you up and hires you for a show, generally you know their name. Maybe you even know their husband's name or their wife's name. Maybe you know their children's name or someone else that will be at the party. So that's a simple way to do it too. You can cheat and have your friend talk to the person and figure that out. There's lots of ways to do it. And then in a moment, I'll teach you a way to do it in real time as well. But for this case, we'll just say we already know his name's Bob, but he doesn't know we're about to do this trick, so he's still going to be very surprised. So I'm just going to take the flap, and once again, I want to make sure that it's oriented so that when it falls down, it will fall in the correct way and it will lock in place because of the magnet. So this goes into the lid, and this is going to be your starting position. So you want to either start with the coffin open like this, maybe have the chalk laying inside of it, or if you want to have it closed, you have it closed, but basically the coffin is upside down, okay? Because it's a coffin shape, you can't really tell which side's up anyways for the spectators, so this looks perfectly normal. So to start the trick, you just open the coffin, show that it's empty, and because the flap is in the lid, you can't turn this upside down, it's not being stuck magnetically, it's just resting there. So if you are going to turn it in any way, you want to grab it and hold it with your fingers, and so your fingers are pinning the flap to the bottom, or in this case, the top and to the lid of the coffin, all right? So you can do it like that. You can hold it with just your thumb. If you want to turn it like this and just kind of display it or give it a little shake, maybe there's something in there, you shake it like that. That's a nice and subtle way to show there's nothing else in there, although the lid is hiding the flap. So to make the flap go from here to there, all we have to do is close it, and in the closing action, the flap will fall from the top to the bottom. Now I'll cover that really quickly. I'll just close it, and you'll notice it made a little bit of noise, but it's totally covered by the closing of the lid. And in this case, it fell perfectly to the bottom. So in performance, I show it empty, I close it, I can hear the lid fell, so everything's good. I usually take a peek when I grab the chalk to throw it in there. Now we can't throw the chalk in at the beginning, because if we do that, I'll show you what happens. If you throw the chalk in at the beginning, we close it, and now the flap can't fall to the bottom because the chalk's in there. So we have to do it after. And the way we get around that is I simply show it empty, close the box, and then I say, oops, I forgot. I act like I forget to put the chalk, but really I'm doing that on purpose because I have to. But I always act like it's an afterthought. Oops, forgot the most important part. And now everything's good to go. When you open it up a few seconds later, it will look just like the chalk has written or drawn the letters B-O-B, or Bob. Now, what happens if the flap doesn't fall all the way to the bottom? Every once in a while, the flap won't fall perfectly, and it usually does, but in this case, let's say it doesn't. Let's say it falls and it's just sitting there. I'll kind of make it stick. It would never do that. That's kind of pretty exaggerated, but let's just say you close it, and when you go to look inside, you can see that the flap is not flush, okay? Like that. All I do is I'm going to put the chalk in there anyway, so I just pick up the chalk, and as I put it in there, I just make sure I push it flush. That's it. And you can close it and everything's good. The other thing you can do is just be mindful of that, and when you close the lid the first time, you can just kind of see that. You can kind of tell sometimes, you can hear it, but when you look inside to place the chalk, just sometimes dropping the chalk will make that go all the way to the bottom. So you really don't have to ever worry about the flap not being pushed fully flush. Let's just kind of do it there again. Because once again, because you're always going to be putting something inside, and when you do that, all you have to do is just slightly light it up with your finger, and you're good to go. So that's for the basic name revelation, but I'd like to teach you a really important subtlety, and this subtlety is something that you can use for any one of these effects, and that is making it seem as though they hear the chalk move or write. And to do that, after you drop the chalk in, I just close the latch, and I hold the coffin in my hand almost as if I was holding a deck of cards, okay? Just held in basic like mechanics grip or dealing grip. And I take the coffin, and I'll find the person that's on my farthest left. Usually it's just, maybe 3 or 4 people, and I'll find the person on my left, and I'll take the coffin up to their ear. And as I do that, I'm just going to, with my ring finger, come underneath and just scrape with my fingernail. Just that little movement makes enough noise where it sounds exactly like the chalk is writing inside. I just bring it up to their ear and do that for just a few seconds, maybe 2 or 3 seconds, so they can hear it. And all I have to do is just get them to acknowledge it, and then I quickly pop my finger back out and bring the coffin back into everyone else's view. But by putting it to the far left, no one can see it, and not even the person that's listening can see it because I'm holding it right against their ear. All right, so it's a nice little subtlety that you can add to pretty much any one of these effects. And at the end, all you have to do is open it up, show the word is there, and once again, it's a nice subtlety to take the box or the coffin and just turn it towards them, which lets the chalk fall out, and its subtlety shows that there's no extra pieces or flaps inside the box, even though there is, but it's being held there magnetically, so everything looks perfectly normal. So as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of different ways to get someone's name. You can have a friend be sneaky and go talk to them first, get the name, come back to you, tell you what it is. You can already know their name. Maybe it's a friend you're doing it for, so it's not that big of a deal that you already know the name. Obviously, it's not going to be as strong, but still very surprising. You could also, like I said, do a little bit of research, maybe find out if you can figure out through a little bit of internet sleuthing, just find out what the person's spouse's name or their children's name if you're doing a family party or something like that. But if you want to do it in real time, all you have to do is just introduce yourself. Hi, my name's Nathan. What's your name? I'm about to show you some magic, blah, blah, blah. Do one or two tricks. And then when you want to do the actual spirit coffin, all you have to do is have a little bit of preparation. You are actually going to put the name of a card on the flap, and you're going to put that flap in the lid, oriented so that when you close it, it will go and lock into the bottom, like we've talked about. So it doesn't matter what the card is, whatever card you want to force, just put that right in the lid. And then underneath the lid, in a second, you're going to write their name, so you just want to keep that blank. But the flap has, in this case, the Queen of Hearts written on it. So we're going to force the Queen of Hearts. Once again, you're going to open this up, and you don't want them to really see what the card is, so you can kind of keep it closed like this if you'd like we talked about a moment ago, so that way it's actually on the bottom, and it's just sitting on the table, and everything looks normal. Using your favorite method, in this case, we'll maybe just say the riffle force, so have someone say stop, and they, of course, pick the Queen of Hearts, and then you just have them shuffle the card back into the deck. The important part is that they don't let you see it, because you're not supposed to know what the card is. So using any method of forcing a card you prefer, just have them pick the Queen of Hearts, and then maybe you say, I'll turn my back, and I'm going to make a little prediction, okay? So you're going to grab the chalk here, take the coffin, pick it up, and then when you turn your back, you're going to do something very simple. You're going to open the coffin, and you can actually, if you'd like, you can open the coffin in front of them because they can't see this right here, so you can actually do that and then turn around if you'd like. But when you turn around, you're just going to turn your back for just a second, and that makes sense too, because usually when you have somebody pick a card, you say, go ahead and show it to everybody. I won't look, I'll turn around. So you can kind of kill two birds with one stone in this case. So you're going to take the coffin. It's got the flap in the lid with the card on it. You're just going to close it, but you're going to have your thumb here, so that way the flap can't go all the way to the bottom. And then you're going to leave the lid open, and then you're just going to put in this case, the name John. Okay, so I have that in the lid, and then all I have to do is just put the flap back into the lid as I drop the chalk in there, and then turn around, and then I reveal the information that I've written. And of course, if they've selected the Queen of Hearts and you've forced the correct card, that will be a little bit of a revelation, and they'll be surprised that you knew what the card was. And then for the finale, you say it'd be better if I actually had not myself write the card, but the spirits write the card, or somebody from the other side write the card. So this time you close the box, which sends the flap to the bottom, and then as an afterthought, oops, I forgot the most important part. We have to put the chalk in there. And now if you'd like, you can do the little sound subtlety. And of course, this time when we open the box, there will be John. You can dump out the chalk, and everything looks as it should. An absolute miracle done in real time, and you just met them. Pretty cool. You didn't notice that I have a miniature coffin here, maybe? But
I did notice.
yeah, it's not a normal thing to have.
It's not.
Well, it's almost Halloween, so I figured it's kind of it's my new phone case. It's a little clunky, but okay, the terrible jokes are free. It's just a bonus. Just a bonus. But I've got just some random words here. Will you be my chalk lady?
That's a person I see too.
And I'm just going to close it up. And what is your name?
Jessica.
Jessica. We'll try this. I'm actually, instead of putting the chalk in there, we're going to do something different. I'm going to take this little handkerchief. I'm going to drop it inside there and close it up. And it might not be easy to do because of the noise. Actually, I don't know if you can hear this. Look, look, look.
What's in there?
Okay, this is freaking me out. It's vibrating. I'm gonna take it.
It was.
No spider.
I'm not even.
Let's see if the spirit sent us a message.
What?
How'd you make that?
Look at it, erased everything.
Whoa! Stop it.
I've been waiting for you for 3 years.
I'm here.
Finally. Finally, it's like pulling the sword from the stone. This is awesome. For the finale, usually I disappear, but you guys are pretty cool, so I'll do one more. You're probably wondering why I have a weird.
What's going on? Because it's a coffin, right?
Well,
Like chalk in it.
it's. I wanted to get in season, so it's my new phone case. It's a little bulky, but I know it's stupid jokes. The jokes are free, so. But I wanted to show you. It doesn't look like much. Very interesting. It's just kind of like this wooden coffin, but I actually had this made by a friend of mine who does like woodwork, and it's not fancy. But the reason why I had him make it is because I found this wood from an old haunted house that was in our neighborhood. And so this is very specific. I don't know if you can see, but there's just basically just a bunch of random names in there. I'm gonna close this. Oops, forgot the most important part. Put the chalk in there, close it up, and now we're gonna ask for a message from the other side. And I think we need to have you guys put your hands on it.
Like a Ouija board?
Yeah, basically, yeah, same type of thing. Oh, that's a good idea, 2 fingers.
Never play alone. 2 fingers.
Oh, I think I felt a little vibration. Let me. Ooh, I don't know if you can. Okay, let's open it up. Everything's gone. Whoa.
Wow.
What? How? No, okay, no. How did that happen? Steve. Oh, I can't say that. That's insane.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is the name eraser. As opposed to making a name appear, in this case, there's a bunch of different names drawn inside the box. And you place a handkerchief or in this case, a Kleenex inside the box. And then it apparently erases all the names except for the one name, and it's their name. So a bunch of names, random names drawn in the bottom, a bunch of names drawn on the flap. The other side of the flap is blank, but you want to make it look like there was names that were erased. So not just a completely clean slate. You want to draw some words or names and then erase it. And then same thing with the lid, draw some names and then erase everything except for one word, which will be the name that you want to appear. In this case, we've got Sam, okay? So same preparation as before. Because the lid is holding the flap, we can close the box upside down if we want to start that way, or we can just start with everything open, okay? Introduce the spirit coffin, make a couple of jokes about it maybe, and then notice or just point out casually that there are names written all over the inside of the box. Now, in this case, I don't actually have the word Sam here. If you want there to be no discrepancy, you can put the word Sam in there, but I think it's a little bit more fun to just have it not even be there at all, so that way it's a really big surprise. But that's up to you. I think there's no wrong answer there. So in either case, you just close the lid, which sends the flap from the top to the bottom. And as an afterthought, we say, you know what? Rather than the chalk, I'm going to put in a piece of tissue to see if we can call on the spirits to erase all the names but one. You can have them touch the coffin if you'd like. You can even bring the coffin up to their ear, because once again, the same subtlety of rubbing your finger along the bottom, it could also sound like something is being erased or wiped inside the box. So you can do that same subtlety. Eventually, I just place it down. You can let them open up the box. And that's pretty nice, because now when they take the handkerchief out, they'll see that everything has been erased except for one name, their name, Sam. So not only is this a really, really surprising miracle, but I think visually it's more interesting to watch because there's such a drastic change of all of the names to just one. It gives them a very, very powerful image to remember, and it's so strong. So because the spirit coffin is basically just a flap box, it can work almost like the classic card box, meaning you can take a card. In this case, I just have a business card that I've torn into pieces. You can take the pieces, toss them into the spirit coffin, close the lid, ask the spirits to do their magic, and then of course when you open the lid, the card will be restored and everything looks normal. So I'll basically show you how that works really quick. I'm sure you're already way ahead of me. If we just pop the flap out here, you'll see the pieces were just underneath there. So you want to place this in the lid with the flap in the lid. And in this case, I have a business card, but it could be a playing card, a dollar bill, or even a photo. We'll talk about that in a second. You don't have to have the pieces pre-torn. You can tear the pieces right in front of them, toss them right into the box, and then once again, just close the box. And if you want to, you can even do this with a photograph. And the way that I would like to do it is I had an old picture that I found on the internet, and I just printed it out, and I crinkled it up a little bit, and you can put a little tea, just like the tea that you drink. If you dip the picture in tea, it will make it look like it's really old and kind of darkened a little bit. And then I just tore that up into pieces and just made a duplicate of it. So rather than a business card, now it's an old photo of my grandmother, and I talk about how I miss her, and you can place it inside, close it, open it up, and now you've restored the photo, which is a little bit more meaningful than just a business card. So I think if you give that a try, you'll find it's very strong. So aside from making messages appear inside the coffin with the chalk, you can also do that with a business card, or really any card that can fit inside the coffin. So you can just show your business card, and I usually will place it blank side up into the bottom of the box. And now we're just going to close the lid, and of course that makes the flap change. And now we can make any type of message that you'd like appear on there. If you'd like, you can even do the move, and then as an afterthought say, oh, you know what, we'll take the pen, we'll take the cap off it, and we'll place that inside the box, and we'll see if we can get the spirits to write us a message. And once again, you can do the little subtlety of making the pen sound like it's writing. You open it up, there's now a message. You can dump out the pen, and there it is, boo. Any message you want can magically appear. So for this one, you're going to show the spirit coffin empty, and you will have a card selected. So using your favorite method, have them say stop, they call out stop, you show them the card. You can use your favorite method to make the card vanish. My favorite method is the rub-a-dub vanish, which is really simple. You just have the card on top and you pretend to put it on the table, but you're really just pulling it back. All right. The card vanishes. Replace the, close the box, snap your fingers, do a little dance, call upon the spirits, whatever you would like to do to signify the magical moment. And then, of course, when you open up the box, there's now the card inside. The card is a little bit too big to fit in the box, so we just have to fold it in half, and it fits perfectly. So you just have to have a duplicate of your force card, fold it in half, and just place that into the lid. Okay, so it's in the lid there. And then one little subtlety is you don't want to have it just folded lightly, because then this card will make the lid kind of pop up. So you want to really make sure you crease it both ways, so that way it lays really flat, okay? And then you can, I kind of tuck it in the bottom, so that way if you put it here, it stays popped up, but if I tuck it down here, it will keep it closed, if that makes any sense, all right? And I also make sure that I'm using my fingers to pin the lid against the top, and I'm pinching it so it's squeezed the lid into the, or I'm sorry, the flap into the lid nice and tight, okay? So I can show that. Do your favorite force. In this case, we just did a riffle force. And you don't even really have to vanish the card. You can just place the card into the deck and place the cards in the box, put the box in your pocket, snap your fingers, close the lid, have them knock on the box if you want, and ask them if anyone's there, and then you open the lid, and of course, there we have it. Magic. So as you can see, because it's a combination of spirit slates and the old card box gaff, the possibilities are really endless. You can do so many different changes. Anything that's flat, like if you have a movie ticket or a dollar bill, those can be switched. You can do a torn and restored. But one thing that's kind of a little bit outside the box I wanted to mention is you can kind of recreate the idea of the spirit taps or spirit wrapping, they used to call it, the idea of making it sound like there's a ghost or a spirit knocking on a door, or in this case, the actual coffin. So all you have to do is place the little piece of chalk inside, and we're going to present it as though that the chalk is going to move and make noise to represent an answer of a question, or sometimes I'll ask it to tell us how many there is of something, and so you hear like maybe 2 or 3 taps. In this case, I'll just close the box. You don't even need the lid for this part, so if you'd like, you can actually just ditch the lid, which is something that I'll sometimes do. Once the lid is in the bottom and it's locked, I'll actually place it on the table, as I talk about something else. And then if I have, in this case, I'll just use a handkerchief. If I have a handkerchief, which I usually do because I'm cleaning these slates or drawing something and then erasing it and writing things, so this is usually pretty close to me. I can pick this up and then place the handkerchief over top of the flap, and I'm just doing that as I lift this up. I'm just leaving the flap there and then placing the handkerchief on top of it, and now I can even just put this in my lap, or if I'm standing, I just put the handkerchief in my pocket with the flap. So now everything's gone and there's no flap in sight at all, and that's pretty cool. And now I can do one more trick that doesn't use the flap. I put the chalk in the box, close the box, and I'm going to hold the box like this, okay? So the best way to present this is if there's people really close. So if I've got people sitting right here, that's perfect. Or even better, if they're standing up right next to me, kind of like a little circle of people looking down at it. Because underneath, unbeknownst to them, I'm just going to take my second finger and just tap on the bottom of the box. But if you have a thumb tip or a fingertip on your finger, it's going to be really loud. If I do it normally, you can hear it, but if I have a fingertip on there, it's going to be really loud. And if you have a metal thumb tip or a metal fingertip, you can make it really loud. So let's say there's 3 people in the room. I just say, spirits, tell us how many people are here. And then I just underneath the box. And because they're looking down, they can't see anything. The rest of your hands don't move. It's just this little movement of your second finger, which is really hard to see if you're looking straight down. So that's it. That's a really, really simple way you can do some spirit rapping or spirit taps with little to no gimmicks. One other thing I wanted to mention, if you do want to ditch the flap, and we talked about how you can do it if you're standing, you just have a handkerchief nearby. If you have a pad that's black, that's the best thing, because when you set the box down with a little bit of force, it will knock the flap out. And if you've got a black pad, it will be kind of a black art principle, so it'll hide it really easily. But if not, all you have to do is just in an offbeat moment, as you're doing something, you just set the spirit coffin close to the edge and just hit it, and the flap will actually fall in straight into your lap. Okay, you just hit it at the edge of the table, the flap will go into your lap. Or if you want to be so bold, because it's only going to happen for a second, you just take the whole thing, drop it in your lap, and then just pick it back up and put it on the table. So now the flap is in your lap. You don't have to worry about it. When you go to get up 10 minutes later, you can worry about it. Or you can just, in a nonchalant moment, just stick it in your pocket. It's the perfect size to slip right in your pocket. I've even slipped it in my sock before. There's lots of different options if you're seated at a table, because they can't see below your waist, so everything's good to go. So just one more time, I'll show you. Flaps in the bottom. I just take the whole thing. I just set it in my lap for just a second. When it goes into my lap, it's going to hit my lap, and then I just set it back on the table. This just stays in my lap, and we're good to go. I just put it in my pocket in a moment of misdirection. So I just wanted to teach you a really simple card force. I'm going to teach you the riffle force. In this case, we're going to force the 3 of spades. I just want to have a break above the 3 of spades about halfway down in the deck. Okay, so I have a little pinky break right there above the 3 of spades. I'm just going to hold the deck in dealer's grip, and with my left thumb, I'll riffle down the deck, and I try to time it as though I can kind of guess when they're about to say stop. So I just riffle somewhat slowly, so I time it so they say stop somewhere near the break. If not, it doesn't matter. I'm going to lift up at the break either way. So go ahead and say stop whenever they like. They say stop. I just lift up right at the break, and I just either deal the card onto the table, or I just lift my hand up and show them the card. I'll usually turn my head as I do that. I'll say, go ahead and just remember the card you stopped me at. Cool. And then I just bury the card in the deck. And because it's a force, you can immediately have them shuffle till their heart's content, and then go on your merry way to the revelation. So the spirit coffin is pretty cool because it's something that's automatically spooky. It's a coffin. Just seeing the visual image of a coffin, makes some people go, oh, what the heck? It's not something that you would usually have carrying around in your pocket. So sometimes just to lighten up the mood, I don't want them to think that I'm doing an exorcism or anything weird like that. I want them to think it's going to be just a fun, lighthearted thing. You don't have to. You can definitely present it as like a bizarre thing if you'd like. But if you want to kind of lighten it up, I wanted to offer a few jokes. So one of the simplest jokes is that they're giving away free coffins at PetSmart. That's a pretty good one. Or of course you could say it's a coffin for a hamster. And then another good one that I heard is it's a coffin for a goldfish with a really dramatic family. And the one I've been using lately is now that it's Halloween season, I got a new phone case. It's a little bit clunky, but it's kind of cool. So I think if you put your mind to it, you could probably come up with some really funny gags, but those are a few that I've used in the past and they work well with me, and it'll help you break the ice and make it easy to lighten the mood. Enjoy. So that's pretty much it for the spirit coffin. I think if you play around with it, you'll find it's the possibilities are endless, because you can do anything that you can do with the spirit slates, and you can do any of the effects that you can do with the classic card box. And there's literally hundreds of different effects with both of those different props. So you have a lot of work and a lot of fun ahead of you. We love to hear your feedback, so please drop us a review. And thank you so much. I know you're going to love the spirit coffin.